Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome back. I hope you're all doing fantastic. You all look great, by the way. Spring break definitely is just what everyone needed. Liv, Christian, Tristan, Lucas, Allison, hello and good morning. Welcome back. Marissa's here too. Hello. I'm a little overexposed here as it's just too nice out to not have the window open. So how was everyone's break? I know there wasn't much we could do, but hopefully you found some time to relax, to unwind, to sleep in, stay up late. My sleep schedule is totally messed up. No. Yes. No. There we go. Boring? Yeah, there were some days, well, some moments, but also some days where I just had no idea what to do with myself. And I was very tired of doing the same thing every day. Because there's only so much you can do and can't really go anywhere. So definitely a very heavy media consumption week. Played some video games, read some books, watched some TV shows, walked a whole bunch. Tried to stay sane as much as possible. Well, I'm happy you guys are here this morning. I'm happy to be back doing this. I know it's not ideal, all right? I would much rather be in the classroom. But at least this kind of gives some structure to the day. And if today's anything like yesterday, and it has been so far, this class is going to move quick. Slept all day. I'm kind of jealous. I have not been sleeping well since this stay-at-home thing. I think because I never leave the house, so it's hard to go to bed when all you've been doing is laying around all day. So kudos to you for being able to sleep. Is lower. That's not good. All right, so we'll get started in a sec. I'm going to give an opportunity for some other folks to pop in, and if they show up late, they'll get caught up. And if they don't come at all, this is not the class to not pay attention to. I can promise you that. We're going to get into our editing platform, and so there's some things to go through, and I just want to do that collectively as a class, and we'll get to where we can get today, and then we'll pick up next time. So we'll give a few minutes for some other folks to hopefully come and join. Here we go. That's the one. Create. As I'm prepping some of my stuff for next class, last class of my two TV1 classes yesterday, all of them have run long, and so I'm going to be very cognizant of the clock today to make sure that I'm not holding you guys up too long. So my goal is to try and wrap by 11:50, so that we can so that I can reset and get things set up for my next period class, and also you guys can venture to where you need to venture for your next period class. Jesse's here. Oh my gosh, Jesse, how are you? get back to that in a second. Okay, cool. Jesse, I feel you, man. I think this whole week just threw off my sleep schedule. Now, as an old man, I can say that falling asleep around 12:30, 1 a.m. is late for me. You guys might laugh at that, but when you're up at 5:36, getting 4 hours of sleep a night is not good. So that's where I'm at. But I'm fueled by adrenaline today, just because I'm excited. I'm excited to be with you guys, and I'm excited to get into our video editor. Hi, Nick. Good morning. Because I think for the first time in a long time, this feels like a very real return to form for what we do as a class. And I think that's why I'm so excited about it. And my 2A class also seemed pretty pumped about what we were getting into, which is great, because I think it's going to help you guys twofold. One, because it is true to what we do, it's just a different type of work. And I think, inherently, when we all shifted online, right, there was a lot of written stuff and reading stuff, and that's why I tried to throw a few hey, watch this assignments in there. But none of that was totally true to what we do in TV production. So this will allow you to be creative and to inject your personality into things. But at the same time, it's also going to work twofold for you in that when we get into projects, they're going to be spaced out a little bit more because they require a little bit more. Not in a difficult way. And I think you're going to find that our class-to-class assignments start to space out a little bit more. And that will hopefully help you balance some of the other work that you guys have going on as well. So it'll kind of pull double duty in that regard. Ashton, good morning. Hello and welcome. So we'll get moving here. Oh, dear. Okay. All right. So we'll let others catch up. If not, they can always watch this. Oh, let me reload that. There we go. Watch this video later. Oh, which reminds me, and for those of you that did the feedback survey before break, thank you. If you didn't get that done, I will still take it late. I would rather have that feedback than not have it at all, and those grades will be entered soon. So it's an easy way to finish that and give some feedback, but then start off fourth marking period with an easy hundo, because I'm going to give you the points for just getting that done. But a lot of that feedback was really helpful. It was surprising a little bit that a lot of people liked this YouTube format. I know some teachers are doing Zoom or Google Meet and Hangouts. I'm not a huge fan of that because it tends to be a little chaotic, and I like that YouTube saves these videos for later. So if you want to watch them again to pick up something you missed, you absolutely can. And today's a perfect example of a good reason as to why we need these archived, because as you can see, well, maybe you can't see, half the class is here, and that's not great. So if they need to get caught up, I'm going to direct them to this video and they can watch it. But we're here now, and so let's make the most of that. Anyway, thank you for that feedback. That was very helpful. And some of you said some really nice, touching things, which made me feel really good. So I appreciate that. So you noticed today on the link that was posted, there was also some instructions for our WeVideo editing platform. So if you haven't already, pop open another tab and head over to WeVideo.com. It's going to prompt you to log in, and the login information is on Google Classroom. I can't say that out loud now, and I can't put it in the chat because while this is not a public video, it is technically searchable, and I don't want that information to be out there. So if you need to bounce back over to Classroom and look at that real quick, go for it. But you should be able to log in to WeVideo using the credentials that are there for you. All right. I'm going to check my list very quickly, as there is a small handful of people that have used this before, and because of that, it might have caused a slight hiccup. So let me see who's on that list in this class. It looks like Lucas and Christian, you guys have used this before or have logged in before, which is great. So maybe you have some practice with it. but we'll have to take a look on at some things to make sure that you're part of the classroom. All right, so log in, and then I'm going to bounce to my desktop view so you can see some things as I kind of introduce the platform as a whole. I'm just going to go check in on my class here. Whoops, wrong class. To see if Lucas and Christian are where they need to be. All right, Allison is, Tristan is, Jesse is, Ashton is, Nick is, and Marissa is. All right, so you guys are in, which is good because I know you're in the chat. So all right, let's check on Lucas. No lock on Lucas here. Interesting. All right, Lucas and Christian, if you guys can let me know in the chat if you've had any issues signing in or logging in to WeVideo. As it stands, you guys are not part of the classroom group on WeVideo, and I want to, of course, add you to that because it's going to assist with our practice project. And if you were able to log in successfully, wonderful. Hang tight at your main screen there, and we will get you caught up in a bit. It says incorrect username or password. So Lucas, did you type in the password from that I posted on Classroom? Make sure you use the capital letters. It is case sensitive. All right. And if you typed it in appropriately, correctly, then it's most likely because you have used this before. And if so, you have to use the password that you used when you created your account. So I don't know if you've used this for like an English class. I had someone in my morning show class yesterday that was like, oh, I used this in 8th grade. Okay, cool. But like whatever you logged in with then, you need to log in with again now. All right, and of course, day one with any of this stuff, folks, a lot of it's just kind of working out some of these kinks, of course. So we'll get to where we can get to as far as the interface and going through some things, and that's perfectly fine. You know, I want to make sure that we're not leaving anyone behind, and we're able to move through this together. So if we have a little bit of downtime in between helping some people, then, you know, relax and just make sure we follow along when we get back to it. Yeah, that's the one thing, Lucas, I won't be able to know is like when you signed up for it originally, you may have used your school email, but I don't know, and I have no way of knowing what password you would have used. And then Christian, it's the same thing on your end. Now I know some people had left our video here, so I'm not sure if Christian is still with us. Oh, Lucas, it looks like you logged in correctly because I see you now, which is great. So I'm going to add you to our classroom here. Beautiful. Okay, Lucas, perfect. if it's asking to join with a classroom code, you actually don't have to. I just manually added you to our WeVideo classroom, so you won't have to worry about that at all. I think once you log in, it upgrades your account because I applied for everyone to have a premium license so that we can use this for the rest of the school year. The WeVideo thing is going to allow us to, I'm picking something up with my foot, allow us to edit video. So it's an online editing platform. All right, so I'm going to bounce on over to my desktop. All right, so this will be one of those things where, just so you guys know, like bounce between the live stream video and then your WeVideo screen. Hang on the live stream for now. I want to walk through some things just so you can see what I'm showing you. I'm going to move through some of the interface as well, so that you can just kind of see the layout and some of the options and things and move through some things. And we'll get into some very, very, very early editing stuff. But the idea here is just to kind of make sure that you're comfortable using this platform so that we can kind of unravel what we do down the line. All right, Olivia and Ashton, you guys are good. You shouldn't need a classroom code. So here, I'll bounce on over to my desktop so you guys can see what I see here. All right, so when you log in, all right, you're going to notice a few things. This is your dashboard, all right, and this is your dashboard menu up top. Now it's going to say hello and welcome you over here in the upper left-hand corner, all right, and where you guys are seeing classroom code is probably down in the bottom here. All right, because it's going to ask you to join a class or enter a classroom code. But you don't need to do that, as I've created the classrooms for you. And I'll show you what that looks like, all right, before I move through some of these menus. Okay, but your main dashboard looks like this. It'll show you projects that you've recently worked on. It'll prompt you to create a new project. You can do a screen recording, so this will record your screen or use your webcam. And then there's some templates you can go through, which are like kind of cooker cutty, paint by numbers, like fill in the blanks, and it does a lot of auto transitions and stuff for you. They're pretty weak sauce. But just the one thing that you don't have up here is this admin tab. So I can show you guys real quick the groups that I made for you. As a class, we're down here. All right. So we have a group code, but if your name's on this list, which we all are except for Christian, because Christian probably left. Olivia and Ashton, you guys are good. All right. Here's Olivia. Here's Ashton. So you guys are perfectly fine. You're part of the group, so no problem with the group code there. All right. The other thing, just so you guys are aware of, in full transparency, I don't want this to be like a sneaky teacher thing, is that, and I'll show you when we get to that point, but WeVideo will, kind of like Google Docs and stuff, allow me to see work in progress. So if, let's say I give a project on a Monday and it's due on Friday, if you email me on Friday being like, oh, Mr. Leonard, I exported my video, but then it went away and the project disappeared, I am actually able to go in and see when you last opened the project, how long you've worked on it, and I can actually go into your edit if I choose to kind of see where you're at. So again, I'm not like trying to scare anybody. I'm just letting you know what I can do. So don't try and pull any fast ones because it's pretty easy to track down. All right. So I'm just going to move through some of the menu things here at the top. The one thing I'm going to ask for you guys, or from you guys, is that while I know some of the like feedback in the chat especially is a little bit delayed because you're hearing what I'm saying about 25 seconds after I say it, but there's going to be a few times I just want to check in with you and make sure that we're all on the same page. So do me a favor now, give me a thumbs up in the chat if you were able to log in. If you're having any issues logging in, please let me know so we can justify that. And I'm going to check in after I just move through these menus right here. Okay, so this is the main dashboard that you'll go to when you log in every time. And as you build edits, they will show in your recent edits down below. But recent edits is only going to show the most recent 3. If you have more projects, like I do, for example, if I go to my projects tab, all right, you will see all the projects that I have. Now, some of these projects are mine, and some of these projects are my other TV1 classes. Okay, so you will see For example, in my last period class, all right, this was the practice edit that we were working on. There are 12 people working on it, and once we create that today, you guys will have your version here. All right. The media tab is going to show you all the media that WeVideo has access to. Of course, I put mine in folders to help stay organized. All right, but just within these folders, I've got, here's my exports folder. Here's my morning show episode 1 folder. So these are all the clips I use to do that edit. And it's just a quick way to see what media is tethered to WeVideo. And of course, when you're done with stuff, you can always right click it and delete it or rename that folder if you need to. Exports is a quick way to show your exported videos, of which I've got 2. Morning show episode, and then I did a quick test edit just to tinker around with some stuff as I was learning this myself. Templates brings you back the templates, which are just atrocious. And then you do not have the admin tab, so that's something that you won't have to worry about, but that lets me see like reports and stuff and modify groups and whatnot. So I'm going to jump back to my projects tab for a second before I check on the stream here. All right. No one gave a thumbs up, so I'm presuming, were you successful in logging in? Oh, God. I gotta get a tripod so I can stand and not sit. This is bad. All right, so no one's saying anything, and we've lost another person. So I'm gonna press on. Little Hoons is good. Okay, cool. Thank you for the reply. Okay, so here's where things can get a little wonky. From your dashboard, all right, we're gonna get into a project together as a class. However, you're not going to do that by selecting create a new video, all right? Because the video that I want to tinker with, much like we did at the beginning of our school year, I want to make sure that we're all working from the same material. So in class, I moved that footage to the server, you pulled it down, we imported it into Premiere, everyone was on the same page. Conceptually, that kind of works the same, all right? But you need to start that project the right way. So from your dashboard, all right, I'll pause for a second, give you guys a chance to go do that. You're going to click on the Projects tab, all right, and you'll notice that in your sidebar, you have My Projects and then an option that says Shared with Me. Now, there shouldn't be anything in My Projects because we haven't started anything yet. However, if you go to the Shared with Me tab, all right, you are going to see a project there. Now, I don't have one because that project was not shared with me, it was created by me. So you're going to have a project there titled TV1 parentheses 3A practice edit. And if you select that project, double click that project, it's going to ask you if you want to create a new edit or video. And of course we do. So you're going to select new edit video, and then it's going to ask you to select a template. You're going to select blank template, and that's going to take you to the main video layout. And I'm just going to jump to my practice project, which looks like this. So I'm going to pause here for a second. I'm going to go to my cam just to let the stream catch up. And I'm going to bounce back to my YouTube stream to see if you guys are doing good. So once you get that new project started, okay, going into projects, shared with me, selecting the TV1 parentheses 3A practice edit, create new, and then select blank template. Give me a thumbs up if you're able to get into your main editing layout. I'll pause here, give you guys a chance to go do that. And stretch my back. The last part was that we were starting a new project. However, all right, we do not, to repeat, do not want to start a new project from the dashboard here. You want to go to Projects, Shared with Me, and you're going to select the project that I have shared with you, which is the TV1 parentheses 3A Practice Edit project. You're going to double click that. A window will prompt you asking you to create a new video, which you're going to select, and then it's going to ask you to select a template, and you're going to select blank as your template. And when you do that, it's going to create that project, and it's going to take you to your main editing layout, which looks like this. Marissa's good. Jen is good. Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, so let's bounce back here. We're going to run through just a few things on this window. All right. Now our dashboard menu is still up here, so we can still access projects and media and exports and all that stuff, which is great. But we're going to focus primarily on these two menus here before we get into some very simple and basic like clip management and editing and stuff before we call it for a day. And we'll pick up here next time. Listen, there's no set pace. We're right on track as far as where we need to be. So that's great. Okay. So there are 4 menus at the top here, all right, as part of the project menu. We'll get to the main menu in a second. The first one I want you to actually adjust is going to be the one where it says, for you, it should say My Video. And if you hover over it, it'll tell you that this is the current video title. So if you click on it once, it's going to prompt you to rename that video. And if you could for me, just rename it after yourself with the word practice afterwards. So first name dash practice, perfectly fine. Hit OK. All right. And then you'll see that My Video is changed to the appropriate title. And then I can see, just so you guys can see what I see, as we hopefully start. So this window that I have up here will let me know who has a project, as Jen just renamed hers. Awesome. Okay. So you can see here who created it. I can see what it's called. I can see the last time it was modified. And then once we get into doing some work, I'll be able to tell, or I can actually get into that project and take over and do some things myself. All right, Olivia just added hers. Fantastic. So I'm just going to bounce back to my edit here. While we're doing that, I'm just going to quickly bounce over to the stream. We're looking good. Okay, everyone's moving along, which is nice. Okay. All right. So to the right of the renamed project, there's a tab that's called Themes, which again will take you to some of those preset things, which are pretty terrible. Linked resources is something you won't have to worry too much about, as this will allow you to link like Google Docs and Google Slides into your video. So if you were to say maybe you wanted to narrate over a presentation, you can import that as a resource and then record a voiceover to move along with that presentation. So, maybe for like a social studies class or something, you have to do a project like that. That could be helpful. We probably won't have to use that, but if you feel like using this for another class, by all means, go for it. And, let me know what I can do to help you if you are trying to do something for another class. So that's themes and linked resources. And then of course, we have our 3 lines here, which is synonymous with your main menu. And if you select that, there's really not much there. This is kind of like the same thing as the application menu under File, where you can create a new edit. You can do a new edit from a template, open a project. The most important thing here really is to save your project. If you need to, you can go into your version history. So arguably, if like you sit down to do a project and come back to it a day or two later and make some changes and go, nah, I don't like that, you should be able to go back to the previous time that you worked on that project and kind of undo your day's worth of work if you found out that you didn't like it. But the most helpful thing here is just saving. Now, WeVideo will save automatically, but habitually, I always save periodically, and especially before I close the tab, I always go over to main menu and then save. All right, now it will tell you in the bottom left-hand corner of your window, you'll see it in the orange font there, when the last time it was saved. So right now, mine just says all changes are saved. I haven't done anything yet, which is why. If you make an edit and then leave and go make a sandwich or something, it might tell you last saved 3 minutes ago. Okay. It keeps you updated, which is nice. But if you've been working for a while and you notice that this hasn't changed, you might want to go up and then make sure you save your work. All right, so I'm going to move through some of the project tabs here. All right, if this is our project menu and this is our dashboard menu, then these are going to be our project tabs. Now, by default, it's going to start on stock media. All right, and it's going to generate a list of clips for you from their stock library. Now, you guys have access to whatever stock media you want to find and use from here, you can. And this is going to be different every time you open this project. All right, last time it was landscapes, this one is weather, but if you wanted to, say, search for dogs, all right, here's some puppies, which is great. So like if you're just like, oh, let's see some cute puppies. 3 white dogs. Oh, that's a picture. We don't want a picture. How about this one? Look at that puppy. Little German Shepherd. Rawr, rawr, rawr. Cute. Okay. You guys have access to this stuff to use, and you can search for, if I search for dogs, cool. If I want to filter that search and show, hey, only show me videos. I don't want to see images of dogs, just videos of dogs. We can do that. And if you like something, like I like this one from before, you can click on the heart and then it goes to your favorites. So if you find stuff that you're using periodically or you come across something like that you go, oh, that would be great if I need this later, favorite it, and then you can kind of filter by your favorites. It will show you all the clips that you've favorited. So that's really helpful and really cool, and a nice added feature to this platform. All right, My Media is going to show you a couple different things, and you'll notice here that we've got a sub-menu where we can import media, we can record media, and we can narrate media. All right, if I hit record, it's going to ask if I want to do my webcam, or if it wants to record my screen, or I want to do both, which is really cool. If you wanted to do, say, a demonstration on how to do something on your computer, you can do that here. Narrate kind of offers the same thing. It's going to ask to use my microphone, which I'm just going to close out of for the time being and get off that screen. All right. Import, which we won't have to worry about right away. This is going to be how to bring in media from other sources. Now, what's really nice with WeVideo is that this works with Google Drive and thus Google Classroom. So let's hypothetically say I assign a project and it's going to require you to shoot some clips on your phone. You can take those clips from your phone, move them up to Google Drive, go to Import, select Drive as the option where you want to import from, and this will take me right to my Google Drive where I can select the folder or my clips, bring those in to WeVideo, and then it will create a section here for those clips in the My Media folder. All right, so it's actually pretty seamless. The only thing that I've come across so far is that when you're bringing in clips, import them, but then like use that as an opportunity to go have lunch, go to the bathroom, talk to a friend, take a break. When you bring stuff in for the first time, it does take a little while for it to get kind of caught up. And so that's not a bad thing. That's just part of workflow and ingestion. But like if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to bring these clips in real quick and immediately get to an edit, you might have to wait a few minutes. So I figured that'd be worth knowing. We'll get back to media in a second. You guys aren't going to have anything here because you don't have any media that you brought in. All right, text. If you've hated text in Premiere, and I hear you because it's one of my least favorite things to do, you're going to like text in WeVideo because it automates a lot of things for you. All right. Now, what you'll notice immediately, if you didn't already when we first came in, is that while we have a project pane, we only have one window here. We don't have a source monitor and a program monitor. We have one that kind of does double duty. Now, what's nice, though, is that with text, there are a ton of different options for text, but you can preview what it's going to look like. So if you're not sure what a title is with this puff, you can click it once and it'll demo what that looks like. All right, if you're not sure what this bullseye looks like, we can select it. Okay, that's what it looks like. So you'll know what text is going to look like before you move it to your timeline, which is really helpful. All right, and there's, oh my God, I'm losing my voice. And it's broken down by different categories. So if you just want a simple static title, boom, there we go. If you want some seasonal stuff, sure. I mean, Easter just passed, so if you want to find a title with a little Easter bunny, there you go. I don't know when you would use something like this, but, and I guess obviously it's for something Easter related, but those are there as well. Callouts don't do much. This is for like presentations where if you want to highlight a certain point, you can bring those in and do that. Otherwise, you're probably going to stick to motion and static for the most part. Audio kind of works like your stock media in that this is not audio that you have brought into the project, because any audio that you bring into the project is going to be in the My Media tab. Your audio tab is going to be music and sound effects that WeVideo provides to you for you to use in your projects. So if you just click a song, I mean, we can't hear it because my speakers aren't on and my computer's not hooked up to my soundboard, you'll be able to hear this play back, and you can use any of this stuff in your videos. All right, so don't hesitate to, I don't know what song to pick. Start here and try and find something that might work for you. All right. Transitions work the same way as text, where you'll be able to preview it. All right, so we know what a crossfade is going to look like, but if I select it, WeVideo is going to preview what that transition looks like in that monitor. If you're not sure what, a puzzle right transition looks like, well, it looks like that. So that's a really cool way to see what a transition looks like just by clicking it once, all right, and having WeVideo preview that for you. All right, backgrounds are motion backgrounds that will loop, which is why they're, for the most part, all the same duration. These are great if you, say, wanted to put a title over something, or if you shot on a green screen and want to put a background behind someone, you can do that using these. You may not find that you're using these too frequently, but they're there for you if you want to use them. All right, I'm going to get back to My Media, but I'm going to pause for a sec to see if anybody has any questions in the chat. If so, let me know. If we're good so far, let me know. Because I'm only going to press on for probably the next 7 or 8 minutes before we start the wrap on the day, and we'll pick up where we left off on Thursday. All right, which is no problem. All right, so give me some thumbs up if we're good. I'm going to press on. I'll check back in a second. All right. So heading back to My Media, all right. Now again, you folks don't have any media in this project because you haven't imported any. However, you will have a folder called Project Media. And the reason why I had you go into Projects to create this project is because since this project was shared with you, any media that I've put into this as a shared project will appear here. Now, I found some stock footage because I just wanted to look for something for us to play around with. Had I done my homework and found that WeVideo has stock footage, then I wouldn't have needed to found this or create this project. But the flip side of that is it taught me that when I create a classroom project, this is how I go about doing it. So it ended up being really helpful in the end anyway. All right, but you'll see everything for this project is contained here. I've got 2 audio files, both of which are songs, and then I've got a random smattering of stock footage that Mr. Leonard thought was nice looking or contained really cute baby seals, because who doesn't want to smoosh that little baby seal's face? In a good way. Look how cute he is. All right, anyway, so you guys will find when you go to My Media and go to Project Media that these clips are there for you. That was part of the benefit of working on this collaborative project. All right, so I'm going to start to move some clips to the timeline to just show you some basic maneuverability and things like that. But we won't get too heavy into it just because I want to make sure that we don't get into some of the more complex stuff and then leave for the day immediately. So we'll probably pick up after a few simple things next class. Okay. So I'm going to start with this clip called Hip Hop Santa, because why not? All right. So when I click on a clip once, it'll send it over to my preview monitor. All right, and it's going to allow me to make some very simple edits here, just like we did in Premiere, right? We would double-click a clip from our project pane. It would go to our source monitor. We'd set in points and out points, and then we would bring that clip down to the timeline. And of course, that same function happens here, right? We select a clip. We can adjust our in points and out points. We just do that a little bit differently. Sadly, the shortcuts don't work. All right, the same way I can't say, oh, I want to stop it there and hit I on the keyboard, but we can adjust our in points and out points. We do so by clicking the handles on the left and right of the timeline here, and you'll see the cursor changes and the icon turns green. So if I wanted to say use the first half of this clip, I can do that here by grabbing the end out point and dragging that in. And you'll notice now that when I do that, in the bottom left-hand corner of that window, the timestamp comes in. So it tells me that this clip is 11 seconds and 17 frames. If I'm going to cut it in half, we'll just round. All right, we'll just say, there you go, 6 seconds. And now it tells me very visually that I'm using just this part of the clip. Now in Premiere, we would select from the center of that image and drag down to our timeline, but you'll see I can't actually do that. If I do that, it just highlights everything. And that was one of the weird kind of reflexes that I had to shake myself out of, is that in order to bring this clip to the timeline, now that I've set my in point and out point, I actually have to grab it from over here. So I'm going to bring that down to the timeline and put it in video track 1. All right. And that's just the first part of the clip. If I want to go back later, let's say, and use the second part of the clip. Whoops. All right, I'm going to select the clip again in my media pane and then adjust the out points for the second half and then bring it down the same way. It's just now I'm using that end. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to delete that clip. So let's venture into the timeline for the last chunk of our time together before we put a bow on today's class. So you'll notice that my playhead is here. It's this big blue box. It's really hard to miss. All right, and I can move through my video there, but this view is not super conducive. So of course I'm going to want to zoom in so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. And the zoom, all right, is in the bottom right-hand corner. And I'm just going to adjust that so I zoom in quite a bit. There we go, perfect. All right. Seeing as how it's telling me that this was last saved 11 minutes ago, I'm going to very quickly save my progress so far. Excellent. All right. Now, the one thing that you'll see is when you play that back, all right, plays back just like it would in Premiere, lets you know where in the clip it is time-wise, okay, and there are certain things you can do. You can add markers if you wanted to mark some stuff for your own well-being, or you can make a cut, all right, where your playhead is, which will slice that into 2 different clips. So you can do the in points, out points here, or you can use this snip tool, all right, the scissors there, to make a cut where you want to cut. Thankfully, Command-Z will still undo that action, which I just did. All right. However, I don't like this view. I think the track is too narrow. So you'll notice that if you go over here to your timeline, you can select any one of these tracks and rename it, which is helpful if you want to stay organized. I'll leave it as it is for right now since this is just a demo. All right. The one thing I will adjust is the height, and that's going to be this drop down over here. When I select that, it gives me options for height. I'm going to go to the middle one for now, just so I can see that thumbnail a little bit better, all right, but also illustrate my last point for the day. I'm going to bring in a second clip, and I'm just going to pull in live band, all right, and I'm going to shrink the out point again. We'll take it right when she looks away, all right, and I'm going to now pull that in the timeline. You'll notice if I put it in the timeline on top of, it literally will not let me put that clip there because it knows it's going to erase the other one. So I'm going to put it towards the end. It becomes green, letting me know it's good, and it will snap to the end of that clip, and I'm going to leave that there. And the reason why I selected this clip was because if I drop my track height down further, you will see that this live band clip actually has audio attached to it. And so while Hip Hop Santa does not have any audio attached to it, all right, live band does. And it's a little confusing only because we would expect, having used Premiere, that the audio would automatically put itself in the audio track. And that's not the case here. So knowing that, we need to expand that track to its largest setting so that we can see that audio. And that becomes really helpful if you need to eliminate audio from clips, or you want to do some transitional things using keyframes, much like we would in Premiere using the pen tool. All right, it's a little bit different here, but the principles are the same. Okay, the audio track is exclusively for music or sound effects that you are adding on top of any of the clips and clip audio that you have in your timeline. All right, so if I want to move this song down, for example, I can't put it here. I can only put it in my Audio 1 timeline. Okay, and of course, then I can also adjust that track height as well, just so I can see those waveforms a little bit better. All right. The one thing missing that I unfortunately do not like, all right, is that we don't have audio meters, so there's no way to actually monitor the audio across the board visually. All right, you kind of have to play through things and listen and make sure that it sounds the best that it can. I haven't come across a way that allows me to monitor audio in a meaningful way. All right, now of course you're not hearing that because, like I said before, my speakers aren't on and my computer does not go into my soundboard. All right, but that'll show you that there are quick adjustments you can make there. Now I'm going to pause for the time being. All right, my project did autosave, which is great, 10 seconds ago. So I'm going to bounce back to the chat here. All right, bounce back to my camera. And we're going to wrap for the day. I know we've got about 9 minutes left, but the next set of things I wanted to show you is a little bit specific as far as clip modification, some audio stuff, some transitional stuff, and we're going to talk about that when we meet again on Thursday. All right, so I wanted to leave here today now with one last question before I get into my last spiel. So very quickly, if you could, I know we lost some people along the way, but if you could just give me an indication in the chat with what you've seen so far in WeVideo. How comfortable do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10 in being able to use this software? 10 being, I've got this, 1 being, not a chance. And then, of course, let me know where you lie in between. All right, so put that in the chat, please. And I'll just end on this last note before we wrap on the day. I don't want you guys to be daunted by this software. I think it's a really helpful tool in being able to get back to doing what we do in class. And because of that, like I said before, it's going to allow us to do different types of work as well as kind of space out, hopefully, and lighten the load that you have to do amongst your other classes. But I don't want you to be daunted at having to learn a new software that arguably we might only be using for a couple more weeks or months. However, I look at it like this, and I kind of use the analogy that it's similar to picking up a tool. I have a hammer in my work cabinet. And I know how to use that hammer. And I can go anywhere in the world and pick up a hammer and go, I know how to use this. But not every hammer is the same, and not every hammer feels the same or looks the same or was weighted the same. But the principles in how to use it don't change. And so you guys started the year learning Premiere, which is a very complicated system. And you did really well with it. Now we're going to go to something else that is arguably a little bit more simple. However, the editing concepts that you know, all right, putting transitions, doing credits, when things should cut away. Those things haven't changed. We're just changing the tool that we use. All right. So Marissa's a 7. Little Hoons, 8 or 9. Awesome. That's great. All right. And if we're at a 7 now, that means pretty soon we're going to be at an 8 or 9 or 10. And that's great. And my goal is at the end of next class to have you feel a little bit more comfortable, learn the last little bit of tools there, and then kind of cut you loose with some guided instruction on how we're going to make some sense out of these clips as best we can to put together a very simple and basic edit. All right, so if you stuck through from the beginning of class, I very much appreciate that. We're going to pick up here again on Thursday, so we'll wrap on the day, and I will see you guys Thursday at our normal start time. All right, if you talk to anyone else in class, please just let them know, hey, Mr. Leonard's starting to get into some stuff that if you're behind on, it's going to be really hard to get caught up. So I don't want to leave anyone behind, but we got to make some progress and move forward. All right, gang, I will see you on Thursday. Thank you so much for being here today, and I will talk to you later.